Do you like Pokemon? Do you like sleep? Do you want to avoid watching hour-long guides explaining the complicated mathematics of the silly Pokemon game? Then despite the length of this video, you're in the right place, because today I'm here to help you have fun while using your favorites rather than gunning for numbers. If you're looking for numbers, you're watching the wrong video and can see the link in the description to the aforementioned super long guide. This video may look long too, but in this video I'll be running over just the basics before breaking down each Pokemon's evolutionary line in Pokédex order and how you can use them to their fullest potential, designed to be skipped through to find the Pokemon you're looking for. I may make additional update videos or new editions of this one as new Pokemon get added to the game, but given how infrequently we get them, it may be a while. Do be aware that playing the game this way may result in being unable to hit higher numbers until the game's natural power creep eventually sets in, but if you're okay with that, then let's get started. Firstly, it's still a good idea to work with Pokemon with stats better suited to their specialty. The core gameplay loop involves befriending more Pokemon who are eventually better than and replace the ones you've been using to achieve higher numbers. But under the assumption that you're picking your Pokemon by the ones you like, your main source of progression will likely be finding better variations of your favorites, and in several cases like Berry Specialists, you don't even necessarily need to replace the ones you're using. To keep things simple, I'll just cover what traits to look out for in general by specialty, which will either be berries, ingredients, or skills. Each specialty has preferred natures and subskills. The specialty can be checked in the top right corner of a Pokemon stats page. Berry Specialists are very simple and generate strength over time. They really want to have the Berry Finding S subskill and as few things that say ingredient is possible. Ingredient Specialists conversely like to have things that raise ingredient finding and maybe inventory. The 3 different ingredient possibilities they can provide are also important, but I'll talk more about those when I break down each Pokemon. Skill Specialists want to have traits that raise skill chance. Every Pokemon benefits from speed traits. If you like cute unevolved Pokemon, there's also a feature that can help them work faster. By logging 500 or 2,000 hours of sleep with the Pokemon on your team, it will get a small buff to its helping speed. 500 and especially 2,000 hours is a long time, and of note, the speed bonus typically won't make the Pokemon faster than if you evolved it, with rare exception, but if you log 2,000 hours with a Pokemon before you evolve it, you're probably not planning to evolve it anyway. Before covering specific Pokemon, I do have one suggestion for you to heed as you see fit, which is to have at least one of the following Pokemon on your team: Wigglytuff, Sylveon, Gardevoir, or Pawmot. Skipping the complicated math, having a good one of these with a leveled up main skill will massively increase the production of the rest of your team. Alright, I'll now get into each species and what you can accomplish with them. All Pokemon of an evolutionary line function the same with variable evolution bonuses and occasional type changes, so I will only talk about fully evolved Pokemon with a couple exceptions. If evolutions are separate from each other in the Pokédex, I will discuss the line where they first appear in Pokédex order. For each Pokemon, I have created an infographic using the power of knowing how to code, and using algorithms I wrote myself, recommends the best traits, meals, and teammates for it in addition to the basic information. The preferred area is the one that matches the Pokemon's berry, but that's only truly important for berry specialists and some skill specialists with strength or berry-related skills. The most recommended subskills and natures trend toward the top of their lists, meals rank highest on the left, and teammate recommendations start in the top left and read like a book, starting with relevant cooking skill users, the relevant ingredient specialists who match the Pokemon's best meals, then relevant strength producers like berry specialists that match the Pokemon's best area. Since most of the information you need will be on screen, I'll only make a few comments on each Pokemon before moving on. Venusaur is a grass-type ingredient specialist that specializes in honey. There are a good number of Pokemon it can be paired with, but it pairs really well with a milk-based Blastoise due to the number of recipes that use both honey and milk, as well as cacao. The ingredient magnet main skill is also really good for generating filler ingredients. Charizard is a fire-type ingredient specialist that specializes in sausage. Charizard has really good ingredient cohesion with Inferno Corn Keema Curry, though I'd recommend having no more than 2 different ingredients on it. It can pair with a Dragonite to have full ingredient coverage for the meal, particularly if it's sausage ginger sausage. The ingredient magnet main skill is also really good for generating filler ingredients. Blastoise is a water-type ingredient specialist that specializes in milk. Blastoise's first and second ingredient are both heavily preferred in dessert recipes, making it a little bit versatile, though some recipes demand a lot of milk, giving extra value to triple milk Blastoise. I would recommend getting one without sausage as well, for as of this guide, there are no dessert recipes that use sausage. It also pairs well frequently with egg or honey producers. The ingredient magnet main skill is also really good at generating filler ingredients. Butterfree is a bug-type berry specialist. The ingredient magnet main skill grants some decent roll coverage to generate ingredients while it generates berries. Raticate is a normal-type berry specialist. Its main skill is charge energy, which can help keep it productive. It otherwise has a straightforward kit. Arbok is a poison-type berry specialist. Its main skill is charge energy, which can help keep it productive. It otherwise has a straightforward kit. Raichu is an electric-type berry specialist. It has a straightforward kit. Halloween Pikachu is an electric-type berry specialist that is only available during Halloween events. Its stats are slightly different from that of a normal Pikachu, but it functions identically and cannot evolve. Holiday Pikachu is an electric-type skill specialist with the Dream Shard Magnet S main skill that is only available during holiday events. Dream Shard Magnet does not directly contribute to Snorlax's strength, so I'd recommend having the Berry Finding S subskill on it to maximize strength while generating Dream Shards. Holiday Pikachu cannot evolve. Clefable is a fairy-type berry specialist. Its main skill is Metronome, which can be unpredictable, but it can be fun to use. Ninetales is a Fire-type berry specialist. It has a straightforward kit. Alolan Ninetales is an Ice-type berry specialist. It has the same ingredients as regular Ninetales, but has a different main skill of Extra Helpful S, which may help with team productivity. Wigglytuff is a Fairy-type skill specialist with the Energy for Everyone main skill. Energy for Everyone is the best main skill in the game, and it's recommended having one Pokemon on your team at all times that can use it. Having more than one Energy for Everyone skill specialist on your team has diminishing returns. Wigglytuff is the most accessible of these options, as it is available in many locations and evolves twice for 2 main skill level increases. As Energy for Everyone specialists wind up spending a lot of time on your team, it's recommended to have the Helping bonus subskill to bolster the rest of the team. Dugtrio is a ground-type ingredient specialist that specializes in tomatoes. Its ingredient distribution is particularly good for salads, but often works best as a focused tomato producer. Even with double leeks, its leek production may struggle to keep up with quantities required to reliably make recipes. Persian is a normal-type skill specialist with the Dream Shard Magnet main skill. Dream Shard Magnet does not directly contribute to Snorlax's strength, so I would recommend having the Berry Finding S subskill on it to maximize strength while generating Dream Shards. Golduck is a Water-type skill specialist with a Charge Strength S main skill. Charge Strength S on its own normally isn't very powerful, but Golduck has an abnormally high skill rate, so it can proc the skill a lot more and generate a decent amount of strength. The issue with this is that Golduck can only hold 2 charges of its skill at once, so to optimally use it, you have to check in often and empty out its main skill so that it can ready up more. Primeape is a Fighting-type berry specialist. It has a straightforward kit. Arcanine is a Fire-type skill specialist with the Extra Helpful main skill. Extra Helpful is a nice skill to increase the productivity of other Pokemon on your team. To improve efficiency when this Pokemon targets itself, it is recommended to have the Berry Finding S subskill. Victreebel is a Grass-type ingredient specialist that specializes in tomatoes. Its main skill will restore its own energy and keep it productive throughout the day. Victreebel's ingredient roster is particularly good for salads, particularly tomatoes and potatoes. If you are mixing them, make sure to have at least 2 tomato slots. Golem is a Rock-type ingredient specialist that specializes in beans. I recommend using Golem as a focused bean producer, as while beans and potatoes are both good for salads, there are no good recipes that use both, and its mushroom quantity is a bit low. Slowbro is a Water-type skill specialist with the Energizing Cheer main skill. As a skill specialist with the Energizing Cheer main skill, this Pokemon seeks to fill the role of the team healer. The main issue with Energizing Cheer is if the Pokemon does not target itself, its own energy will get low and use the skill less frequently. Slowbro's main claim to fame is its ingredient Slowpoke Tails, which it produces in small quantities but has a near monopoly over the production of. However, due to the low quantities, none of its recommended meals actually use Slowpoke Tails. Slowpoke Tails do make a solid filler ingredient though. Slowking is a Water-type skill specialist with the Energizing Cheer main skill. I have nothing different to say about it than I did for Slowbro, but I will mention that Slowking is slightly faster and has a slightly higher skill rate, while Slowbro has a slightly better ingredient rate. Magnezone is an Electric-type skill specialist with the Cooking Power-Up main skill. Cooking Power-Up is a good skill to have on cooking teams, as it can enable you to make recipes you otherwise couldn't due to the number of ingredients they require. Magnezone is one of the easiest Cooking Power-Up skill users to invest in due to it evolving twice and bringing the main skill up to level 3 before needing to use main skill seeds. Farfetch'd is a Flying-type ingredient specialist that specializes in leeks. Farfetch'd has a lower speed and ingredient rate than average, but makes up for it with higher ingredient quantities in its second and third ingredient slots. However, I would still recommend focusing Farfetch'd for leek production, as it's still the best leek producer as of this guide. Since it doesn't evolve, I would recommend an inventory subskill. Dodrio is a Flying-type berry specialist. It has a straightforward kit. Gengar is a Ghost-type ingredient specialist that specializes in herbs. Gengar has a higher than average speed, but a lower than average ingredient rate, so you can get a lot out of it using the Berry Finding S subskill. For ingredients, you could triple up on herbs or do double mushrooms. The oil in the third ingredient slot also produces 8 at a time, which is a respectable amount. Onix is a Rock-type berry specialist. Its main skill is Ingredient Magnet S, which gives it good coverage for generating ingredients while it focuses on berries. Onix can evolve into Steelix, but its berry type changes when it evolves. Onix on its own is already a decent berry specialist, so it's up to you if you want to evolve it and use it in a different area. As an unevolved Pokemon, Onix can also benefit from Good Night Ribbons for speed bonuses. Steelix is a Steel-type berry specialist. I have the same things to say about it as I did Onix, so which one you use comes down to if you want to use it at Top Hollow or Old Gold Power Plant. Marowak is a Ground-type berry specialist. Its main skill is Charge Energy, which can help keep it productive. It otherwise has a straightforward kit. Blissey is a Normal-type ingredient specialist that specializes in eggs. Blissey functions well as a focused egg producer due to the quantity of eggs required in many recipes. However, Blissey can also substitute one ingredient slot for a different ingredient due to the matching combinations of ingredients in several recipes. Blissey's main skill, Energy for Everyone, is the best main skill in the game, though it's not a skill specialist and I do not recommend using it as the sole team healer. Of note, a Chansey with 2,000 hours of sleep time logged for the level 4 Goodnight ribbon is marginally faster than Blissey. It is up to you if you want to pursue that or not, as Blissey gives immediate results and the difference is very small. If you get a shiny Chansey, I will perfectly understand. Kangaskhan is a normal-type ingredient specialist that specializes in ginger. It can also work well with double potato or double ginger and beans, but there's not a lot of cohesion between its ingredients outside of Ninja Salad. Kangaskhan's main skill is Ingredient Magnet S, which is cohesive with its role as an ingredient specialist, but its skill rate is lower than average and it also doesn't evolve, so the skill comes at level 1. Since it doesn't evolve, I would also recommend an inventory sub-skill. Mr. Mime is a psychic-type ingredient specialist that specializes in tomatoes. Its ingredient roster is particularly geared towards salads and can work well with double tomato and potato. Its main skill Mimic can copy the main skill of another Pokemon on the team at the level that Mimic is used, although if it targets another skill copy skill, it will default to Charge Strength S. Pinsir is a bug-type ingredient specialist that specializes in honey. Due to the higher quantities, it can also be a good apple producer if it has double apples. There's also good ingredient cohesion with honey and apple, but very little cohesion with sausage. Since it doesn't evolve, I would recommend an inventory sub-skill. Ditto is a normal-type ingredient specialist that specializes in oil. Ditto has a couple of unique qualities, the first being that it is the only ingredient specialist that can generate Slowpoke tails, and the only Pokemon aside from the Slowpoke line that can do so. Second, its main skill Transform can copy the main skill of another Pokemon on the team at the level that Transform is used. Although if it targets another skill copy skill, it will default to Charge Strength S. Ditto has a little bit of flexibility with its ingredient roster, and my only recommendation is that it has at least 2 of one ingredient type. Since it doesn't evolve, I would recommend an inventory sub-skill. Side note, if you encounter a shiny Ditto during snack time, you won't know it's shiny until after it reverts to a Ditto, as the transformation will not be shiny, though it will still sparkle when spawning in. Eevee is a normal-type skill specialist with the Ingredient Magnet S main skill. Eevee is one of the few unevolved Pokemon I will talk about since there are many people who probably want to use it. Its main skill Ingredient Magnet is useful for generating filler ingredients for your cooking pot and occasionally ingredients you might be looking for. If you like the main skill and want it to work a little better, you can evolve Eevee into Vaporeon, which has the same main skill, but Eevee's other evolutions have different main skills. Halloween Eevee is a normal-type skill specialist with the Ingredient Magnet main skill that is only available during Halloween events. It has slightly different stats from regular Eevee, most notably its ingredient roster being unique and cannot evolve, but otherwise functions like a normal Eevee. Holiday Eevee is a normal-type berry specialist that is only available during holiday events. It is a straightforward strength producer, but it cannot evolve. Vaporeon is a water-type skill specialist with the Ingredient Magnet S main skill. It is a direct upgrade to Eevee. If you decide to invest in the main skill, I would personally recommend stopping at level 6, as the level 7 increase is marginal, at least until we get higher levels, and you can also get a free extra level from some events. Jolteon is an electric-type skill specialist with the Extra Helpful S main skill. Extra Helpful is a nice main skill to have, and I would recommend having the Berry Finding S sub-skill on Jolteon for when it targets itself, and in general, as it is a notably fast Pokemon. Flareon is a Fire-type skill specialist with the Cooking Power-Up S main skill. Cooking Power-Up is a good skill to have on cooking teams, as it can enable you to make recipes you otherwise couldn't due to the number of ingredients they require. Espeon is a Psychic-type skill specialist with the Charge Strength M main skill. Charge Strength M is a potent main skill at max level and can put in a lot of work from Espeon, especially when its berry is preferred, and double especially if it has the Berry Finding S sub-skill. Umbreon is a Dark-type skill specialist with the unique main skill Moonlight. Moonlight is a combination of Charge Energy and Energizing Cheer, with about a 50% chance to grant energy to a random teammate. While it's not as consistent as an Energy for Everyone specialist, it does have a very high skill rate. I would definitely recommend having the Berry Finding S sub-skill on it. Leafeon is a Grass-type skill specialist with the Energizing Cheer S main skill. As a skill specialist with the Energizing Cheer main skill, this Pokemon seeks to fill the role of the team healer. The main issue with Energizing Cheer is if the Pokemon does not target itself, its own energy will get low and use the skill less frequently. Glaceon is an Ice-type skill specialist with the Cooking Power-Up main skill. Cooking Power-Up is a good skill to have on cooking teams, as it can enable you to make recipes you otherwise couldn't due to the number of ingredients they require. Sylveon is a Fairy-type skill specialist with the Energy for Everyone main skill. Energy for Everyone is the best main skill in the game, and it's recommended having one Pokemon on your team at all times that can use it. Having more than one Energy for Everyone skill specialist on your team has diminishing returns. Sylveon is one of the easiest Energy for Everyone users to invest in because Eevee spawns in every area, making it easy to get candy for. The only drawback is that its main skill is only level 2 after evolution, requiring more main skill seeds to max out its skill level. As Energy for Everyone specialists wind up spending a lot of time on your team, it is recommended to have the Helping bonus sub-skill to bolster the rest of the team. Dragonite is a Dragon-type ingredient specialist that specializes in herbs. Dragonite is a very productive ingredient producer, and with double herb and corn can cover half the ingredient requirements for several recipes, including Inferno Corn Keema Curry at level 60, and if paired with a Tyranitar or Charizard with the right ingredient distribution can fully cover the meal. Dragonite can also be a decent oil producer at level 60 due to the high quantity of oil it can produce. Meganium is a Grass-type berry specialist. It has a straightforward kit. Typhlosion is a Fire-type berry specialist. It has a straightforward kit. Feraligatr is a Water-type berry specialist. It has a straightforward kit. Togekiss is a Fairy-type skill specialist with the Metronome main skill. If you like gambling, then this is the Pokemon for you. Metronome will randomly pick a different main skill and use it at the level that the Metronome skill is at. There are some skills that it cannot use, like Darkrai's Bad Dreams. Ampharos is an Electric-type skill specialist with the Charge Strength M main skill. Charge Strength M is a potent main skill at max level and can put in a lot of work from Ampharos, especially when its berry is preferred, and double especially if it has the Berry Finding S sub-skill. Sudowoodo is a rock-type skill specialist with the Charge Strength M main skill. Charge Strength M is a potent main skill at max level and can put in a lot of work from Sudowoodo, especially when its berry is preferred, and double especially if it has the Berry Finding S sub-skill. Quagsire is a water-type ingredient specialist that specializes in mushrooms. Quagsire's later ingredients come in quite large quantities, and if you're planning on using them, you will want an inventory sub-skill to be able to handle them. It works well as a sole mushroom producer, but I would otherwise recommend having no more than 2 different ingredients on it. If your goal is just to make any meal with a single Pokemon on your team, Quagsire can actually produce the ingredients required for Spore Mushroom Curry at level 60 with double mushroom and potato. Clodsire is a poison-type ingredient specialist that specializes in cacao. Clodsire's later ingredients come in quite large quantities, and if you're planning on using them, you will want an inventory sub-skill to be able to handle them. A sole cacao producer is really good due to the large quantity of ingredients required for several recipes, though Clodsire can also work with double coffee due to the decent amounts it produces. Honchkrow is a dark-type skill specialist with the Super Luck main skill. Super Luck is a main skill that combines the effects of ingredient draw with Dream Shard Magnet. It can generate mushrooms, sausages, beans, or coffee, but can also sometimes generate Dream Shards, and rarely in larger quantities. The recipes listed do not account for the ingredients its main skill can produce, but it does have some really good overlap with Hidden Power Perk-up Stew with mushrooms, beans, and coffee. Wobbuffet is a Psychic-type skill specialist with the Energizing Cheer main skill. As a skill specialist with the Energizing Cheer main skill, this Pokemon seeks to fill the role of the team healer. The main issue with Energizing Cheer is if the Pokemon does not target itself, its own energy will get low and use the skill less frequently. Heracross is a Bug-type skill specialist with the Ingredient Magnet S main skill. Ingredient Magnet is a nice main skill to have at higher levels for generating lots of filler ingredients for your cooking pot. If you decide to invest in the main skill, I would personally recommend stopping at level 6, as the level 7 increase is marginal, at least until we get higher levels, and certain events will sometimes boost the level of the main skill. The investment cost of main skill seeds is also quite steeper due to Heracross not evolving. Weavile is a Dark-type berry specialist. Its main skill Tasty Chance S can also provide a nice boost to the cooking side of your team while it produces berries. Delibird is a Flying-type ingredient specialist that specializes in eggs. Due to the higher quantities, it can also be a good apple producer if it has double apples. The third ingredient it can produce is cacao, which has decent cohesion with its other ingredients, but the quantity is a bit low. Its main skill Ingredient Magnet S has good cohesion with its role, but it has a low skill rate and would require a lot of main skill seeds to level up since it doesn't evolve. Also, since it doesn't evolve, I would recommend an inventory sub-skill. Houndoom is a Dark-type berry specialist with a Charge Strength M main skill. It otherwise has a straightforward kit. Raikou is an Electric-type skill specialist with the Helper Boost main skill. Helper Boost generates extra help from all the Pokemon on your team, and gets stronger for every unique species of Pokemon on the team that shares the type of the skill user. For Electric types, Jolteon, Ampharos, and Raichu are decent picks. Raikou is also classified as a special Pokemon, and you can only have one special Pokemon on your team at a time. Entei is a Fire-type skill specialist with the Helper Boost main skill. Helper Boost generates extra help from all the Pokemon on your team, and gets stronger for every unique species of Pokemon that shares the type of the skill user. For Fire types, Arcanine, Typhlosion, and Ninetales are decent picks. Entei is also classified as a special Pokemon, and you can only have one special Pokemon on your team at a time. Suicune is a Water-type skill specialist with the Helper Boost main skill. Helper Boost generates extra help from all the Pokemon on your team, and gets stronger for every unique species of Pokemon that shares the type of the skill user. For Water types, Feraligatr, Golduck, Vaporeon, and Blastoise are all decent picks. Suicune is also classified as a special Pokemon, and you can only have one special Pokemon on your team at a time. Tyranitar is a Dark-type ingredient specialist that specializes in ginger. Tyranitar's pre-evolutions are Ground-type, while Tyranitar is a Dark-type, but given that it's an ingredient specialist, I would still recommend evolving it. Tyranitar is a very good ingredient producer, and I recommend having at least 2 slots dedicated to a single ingredient. For instance, a ginger sausage Tyranitar can be paired with a Dragonite to fully produce the ingredients for Inferno Corn Keema Curry in level 60. Sceptile is a Grass-type skill specialist with a Berry Burst main skill. In addition to its skill being berry-focused, Sceptile is also very fast and benefits a lot from the Berry Finding S sub-skill. Additionally, due to its focus on berries, it will see the best results in an area where its berry is preferred. Blaziken is a Fighting-type berry specialist. Of note, Blaziken's berry type changes from fire to fighting when it evolves from Combusken. It otherwise has a straightforward kit. Swampert is a Ground-type berry specialist. Of note, Swampert's berry type changes from water to ground when it evolves from Marshtomp. Its main skill, Tasty Chance S, can also provide a nice boost to the cooking side of your team while it produces berries. Gardevoir is a Psychic-type skill specialist with the Energy for Everyone main skill. Energy for Everyone is the best main skill in the game, and it's recommended having at least one Pokemon on your team at all times that can use it. Having more than one Energy for Everyone skill specialist on your team has diminishing returns. As Energy for Everyone specialists wind up spending a lot of time on your team, it is recommended to have the Helping Bonus sub-skill to bolster the rest of the team. Gallade is a Fighting-type skill specialist with the Extra Helpful S main skill. Extra Helpful is a nice main skill to have for the extra production on your team, but I would recommend Gallade to have the Berry Finding S sub-skill for better production when it targets itself. Slacking is a normal type berry specialist. Slacking is a bit of an odd case as it is notably slower than average but has an abnormally high skill rate. As a berry specialist with a high skill rate and a main skill of ingredient magnet, it fills more of a hybrid role. Of note, its pre-evolution Vigoroth can work better as a berry specialist and can also benefit from good night ribbons if you log enough sleep time with it. Sableye is a dark type skill specialist with the Dream Shard Magnet main skill. Dream Shard Magnet does not directly contribute to Snorlax's strength, so I'd recommend having the berry finding S sub-skill on it to maximize strength while generating Dream Shards. Mawile is a steel-type ingredient specialist that specializes in oil. Mawile's ingredients are particularly geared towards salads, in particular green grass salad. I would recommend having no more than 2 different ingredients on its ingredient roster so that it can produce enough of each. Its main skill Hyper Cutter is a version of ingredient draw that can generate 4 different types of ingredients, 3 of which are the same ingredients it can already produce, making it very well equipped for its role. Since it doesn't evolve, I would recommend an inventory sub-skill. Aggron is a steel-type ingredient specialist that specializes in sausages. While coffee beans are a good ingredient, Aggron's quantity of coffee beans is a little underwhelming, and while there are some recipes that use both sausages and beans, Aggron may work best with a purely sausage ingredient roster. Plusle is an electric-type skill specialist with the Plus main skill. Plus functions just like the ingredient magnet main skill but gets stronger if you have a teammate with the Minus main skill. As such, it is recommended you have another Pokemon on your team with Minus. Plus can generate a lot of filler ingredients for your cooking pot, which is compounded by the Minus skill, which increases your cooking pot capacity. Minun is an electric-type skill specialist with the Minus main skill. Minus functions just like cooking power-up, but also restores energy to a teammate if you have a Plus skill user on your team. Since Plus skill users generate extra ingredients, the Minus skill works well with it, though the extra energy it generates will not be a full replacement for a team healer. Just like regular cooking power-up, Minus is useful to increase the pot capacity to be able to make recipes that require more ingredients than your cooking pot can normally hold. Swalot is a poison-type skill specialist with the Dream Shard Magnet main skill. Dream Shard Magnet does not directly contribute to Snorlax's strength, so I would recommend having the Berry Finding S sub-skill on it to maximize strength while generating Dream Shards. Flygon is a ground-type ingredient specialist that specializes in avocado. It has great recipe synergy with Bulldoze guacamole and chips if paired with a corn producer. Normally, I recommend not having more than 2 unique ingredients on a Pokemon so that it can keep up with production, and while that's still important for avocados, Flygon's second and third ingredient quantities are pretty good. Triple avocado is likely its best roster, but ultimately depends on what ingredients you need out of it. Altaria is a Dragon-type berry specialist. Of note, its berry type changes from flying to dragon when it evolves from Swablu. It otherwise has a straightforward kit. Banette is a ghost-type berry specialist. It has a straightforward kit. Absol is a dark-type ingredient specialist that specializes in cacao. Absol's ingredient rate is not very high, but it offsets it with some higher than usual ingredient quantities for its second and third ingredients. I recommend having at least 2 of the same ingredient on it to make sure you produce enough, but I would also recommend having an inventory sub-skill on it to be able to hold all of the ingredients it produces. Walrein is an ice-type berry specialist. Its main skill ingredient Magnet S lets it generate filler ingredients while it's producing berries, letting it fill a sort of hybrid role. Salamence is a Dragon-type berry specialist. Its main skill cooking power-up gives it decent synergy as a strength producer alongside cooking teams. Luxray is an electric-type ingredient specialist that specializes in tomatoes. Luxray functions well as a pure tomato producer, but can also produce a decent amount of oil with double oil. Its coffee quantity isn't very high, but if paired with double tomato, it might be able to cover the quantity requirements for hidden power perk-up stew. Its main skill cooking power-up S is also cohesive with its role on cooking teams. Drifblim is a ghost-type skill specialist with a Stockpile main skill. Stockpile is a special type of strength-generating main skill that will perform one of 2 functions when activated. Either Stockpile, where it will increase its stored count, or Spit Up, where it grants strength based on its stored count. Lucario is a fighting-type skill specialist with the Dream Shard Magnet main skill. Dream Shard Magnet does not directly contribute to Snorlax's strength, so I'd recommend having the Berry Finding S sub-skill on it to maximize strength while generating Dream Shards. Toxicroak is a poison-type ingredient specialist that specializes in oil. Toxicroak is one of the few Pokemon that does not have a third ingredient option, but the first 2 options it has are still very good. With double oil and sausage, it can contribute a lot of ingredients towards several recipes and also functions very well purely as an oil producer. When paired with a Blissey that has the right ingredient distribution, it can have full ingredient coverage for Petal Blizzard layered salad, though the ingredient quantities might not allow you to make it every meal. Abomasnow is an ice-type ingredient specialist that specializes in tomatoes. Abomasnow functions well purely as a tomato producer, but it can also function well with double egg. I would not recommend focusing on its mushroom production as the quantity of mushrooms is not very large. Cresselia is a psychic-type skill specialist with the Lunar Blessing main skill. Lunar Blessing combines the effects of Berry Burst and Energy for Everyone. It will not produce as much energy as a regular Energy for Everyone main skill, so it is better treated as a Berry Burst skill. Due to its focus on berries, it will see the best results in an area where its berry is preferred. Cresselia is also classified as a special Pokemon, and you can only have 1 special Pokemon on your team at a time. Darkrai is a Dark-type all specialist and works very uniquely in Pokémon Sleep. Darkrai can be encountered during new moon events and you can only catch 1. Any further Darkrai you befriend will instead give you an item that can either unlock or reroll ingredient and sub-skill slots. As an all-type specialist, Darkrai will generate 2 berries at once by default and is recommended to have the Berry Finding S sub-skill to generate 3. It can also hold 2 charges of its main skill at a time, and by default generates 2 ingredients in its level 1 slot with more in later slots. It is recommended to use Darkrai as a berry and skill specialist though, as the quantities of ingredients it produces are are lower compared to other ingredient specialists, though the quantities of apples are what you would see on other ingredient specialists. Darkrai's main skill, Bad Dreams, increases Snorlax's strength by a lot, but also decreases the energy of teammates that are not Dark type. As such, Darkrai works best with other Dark types, and either way I would still recommend having a skill specialist with the Energy for Everyone main skill on the team. Houndoom and Weavile are two very good options as teammates, and depending on what you're cooking, Tyranitar can also work well. Darkrai is also classified as a special Pokemon, and you can only have one special Pokemon on your team at a time. Side note, there is a trick you can do if you have the Go++, where you can log into the game before logging your sleep session and use Darkrai's skill to avoid the energy loss after your team gets its energy back from the sleep session. Musharna is a Psychic-type berry specialist. It has a straightforward kit. Crustle is a Bug-type skill specialist with the Ingredient Draw main skill. Crustle's main skill generates the ingredients it produces, making it a pseudo-ingredient specialist, and granting it access to potato and oil prior to reaching levels 30 and 60. This Pokemon level trade-off comes at the cost of main skill level, which will need investment to produce decent quantities. Paired with a solid milk-producing Blastoise, it has great synergy with the recipe Avocado Gratin. Braviary is a Flying-type skill specialist with the Berry Burst main skill. Due to the skill's focus on berries, it benefits a lot from the Berry Finding S sub-skill, and would see best results in an area where its berry is preferred. Dedenne is an Electric-type skill specialist with the Tasty Chance S main skill. The Tasty Chance S main skill is a cornerstone of cooking teams for its effect of increasing critical chance when cooking. And as of this guide, Dedenne is the only skill specialist that has it. The base critical rate when you cook is 10%, and a level 6 Tasty Chance S main skill increases the rate by 10% every time it is used. A single proc doubles the critical rate. If you plan on using a cooking team, Dedenne is a Pokemon you want on it. And if you would like to use Dedenne, I would recommend looking into cooking teams. Gourgeist is a Ghost-type ingredient specialist that specializes in pumpkins. Gourgeist comes in 4 sizes, with smaller sizes producing faster and larger sizes having more inventory. In general, I recommend the larger ones, but any Gourgeist with a good setup can work. Inventory is important though, as the latter 2 ingredients have large quantities. You'll mainly want it for pumpkins though. Vikavolt is a Bug-type ingredient specialist that specializes in coffee. Vikavolt is a solid coffee producer, and is especially good due to the large amount of coffee some recipes require. It can also function well with double mushroom or as a honey producer, though if you want to use it for honey production, I would recommend an inventory sub-skill. Beware is a Fighting-type ingredient specialist that specializes in corn. Beware works quite well as a corn producer, but due to the higher quantities of ingredients in its second and third slots, can also function well with double sausage or even egg paired with anything else. Beware is one of the few Pokemon that can function with 3 different ingredients due to these quantities. It may even be good to have an inventory sub-skill to hold the large amount of ingredients it produces. Comfey is a Fairy-type ingredient specialist that specializes in corn. Comfey's ingredient rate is a little lower than average, but compensates by producing larger quantities of its later ingredients. Comfey can work well as a pure corn producer, but I would otherwise recommend not having more than 2 different ingredients on it. Since it doesn't evolve, I would recommend an inventory sub-skill. Mimikyu is a Ghost-type skill specialist with the Disguise main skill. Disguise is a minor variant of the Berry Burst main skill. Due to the skill's focus on berries, it benefits a lot from the Berry Finding S sub-skill, and will see the best results in an area where its berry is preferred. Cramorant is a Flying-type ingredient specialist that specializes in oil. Cramorant has a really good ingredient roster geared towards salads, and can work with any ingredient roster that has at least 2 of one ingredient type. It also has the Tasty Chance S main skill, which has really good cohesion with it as an ingredient specialist. A Cramorant with double oil and potato also provides coverage for a decent number of salads, and while its ingredient generation isn't the best, it makes up for it with its main skill. Since it doesn't evolve, I would recommend an inventory sub-skill. Toxtricity is a Poison-type skill specialist. Prior to evolving, Tox will have the Ingredient Magnet S main skill, and will evolve into one of 2 forms of Toxtricity depending on the nature, which will have different main skills. Amped form Toxtricity has the Plus main skill, which functions like Ingredient Magnet and generates extra ingredients if another teammate has the Minus main skill. Low-key form has the Minus main skill, which functions like Cooking Power Up, and if another teammate has the Plus main skill, will also restore energy to 1 random Pokemon on your team. Plus is good to generate filler ingredients for your pot, while Minus is good to generate extra space to allow more filler ingredients or to cook recipes that require more ingredients than your cooking pot can normally hold. The energy bonus from Minus is not enough to replace a team healer. Meowscarada is a Dark-type ingredient specialist that specializes in potatoes. Meowscarada also has larger quantities of its second and third ingredients, and can work well with any ingredient roster that has at least 2 of one ingredient type. Its main skill Cooking Power Up S is also cohesive with its role on cooking teams. Skeledirge is a Ghost-type ingredient specialist that specializes in apples. Skeledirge works best as a pure apple producer, as there are many recipes that require a lot of apples, and its 3 ingredient types do not have a lot of cohesion together. Quaquaval is a Fighting-type ingredient specialist that specializes in beans. Quaquaval works well as a pure bean producer, and can also produce an okay number of leeks if it has both slots for them, though its quantities will still be a little short for several recipes. Palmont is an Electric-type skill specialist with the Energy for Everyone main skill. Energy for Everyone is the best main skill in the game, and it's recommended having 1 Pokemon on your team at all times that can use it. Having more than 1 Energy for Everyone skill specialist on your team has diminishing returns. As Energy for Everyone specialists wind up spending a lot of time on your team, it is recommended to have the Helping bonus sub-skill to bolster the rest of the team.